Factor 10n squared minus 19n minus 15 solution. So the first thing you should do in factoring problems is see if you have like a common factor that you can pull out. I'm not saying really anything in this particular example. So then you want to decide, well, how do you want to do this? There is a 10 here, so that makes it harder. So we can either factor by guessing or use something called the AC method. The AC method requires multiplying these two numbers, which in this case is pretty easy. So let's go ahead and use the AC method. So step 1 is to multiply the 10 by the negative 15. And that's going to give us negative 150. If you're curious, it's called the AC method because this is your A and this is your C. And then I like to always write down what I need when I'm using the AC method. So we need, and it really helps, this way you learn it, two numbers, that, and there's two conditions. So the first thing is that they multiply to negative 150. So mult to negative 150. You might say, oh, we already have those numbers. This is true. But it's usually not going to be these, right? So 2, they have to add to the middle number. So they have to add to this number here, to this negative 19. I'd say, whoa, that's a really weird thing there. Well, there's not that much that multiplies to 150, at least that comes to mind right away. The most obvious ones are 10 and 15, which those aren't going to work, and then 6 and 25, and those actually will work. We can look at 6 and 25, and if we make this one negative, when we add them, we get negative 19. When we multiply them, we get negative 150. So these are the magical numbers that we're going to use in this problem. So let's go ahead and write down our problem again and use these numbers. So 10 n squared. And so now we take the negative 19 and we break it up into negative 25 and 6. So like this, negative 25n plus 6n. So basically all of this you see here is just negative 19, right? Negative 25n plus 6n is negative 19n. And then we have the minus 15 hanging out over here. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll pull out a common factor from these two here. So we can pull out, looks like a 5n. And then we say, what do we multiply by 5n to get this? Well, just 2n. Right? 5 times 2 is 10, n times n is n squared. And then what do we multiply by 5n in order to get this? Just negative 5. Right? 5 times 5 is 25, it's negative, and we have the n. So you just pull out a common factor from here, and then you do the same thing over here. So here it looks like 3 is going to work. This is pretty tricky. 3. So what do we multiply by 3 in order to get 6n? So 2n. And what do we multiply by 3 in order to get negative 15, negative 5? Factoring is, once you go higher in math, honestly, the factoring isn't always this challenging. Like, factoring is pretty tough. It's one of those skills that, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of patience, right? What if you can't find these numbers? You can spend a long time thinking about certain things. Okay, so now that we have it written this way, the next step is to take this and pull it out. So we have parentheses 5n plus 3, parentheses, and then 2n minus 5. So 2n minus 5. You can just put it there on the outside. And let's check this answer. 2n minus 5 times 5n is right here. 2n minus 5 times 5n. 2n minus 5 times 3 is right here. 2n minus 5 times 3. And that would be the final answer. Good luck.